Before we get started with today's podcast, we'd like to ask returning listeners to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really enjoy it, share a link to this podcast with friends or family who would enjoy hearing our weekly discussions about basketball and basketball culture. Now, on to the show.
Jim, isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot, 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all there. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Turn it into the 19-9 game.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast. We're here in the studio today, and we're going to be talking about Midnight Madness. Each year, Midnight Madness serves as the perfect event to tip off the upcoming college basketball season. You leave the event realizing it's merely a scrimmage and a few contests, but it's the excitement, the entertainment, and 19-9 is going to bring some of that to this year's college basketball tip-off. Breivogel's going to tell you a little bit about what they've got in store.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, if any of you are watching us online on our live event, welcome to the Midnight Madness 19-9 live event.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. So for some of you who are watching us, thanks for checking us out. This is basically the setup for the 19-9 podcast. So if you like podcasts and you like talking about college basketball in general, hardwood history, so you can find the podcast. We'll put some links on where to find that in the video description below. For those of you who are listening to this later and are just checking out the podcast, we'd love for you to check out our YouTube channel that we're getting started. We're going to have a lot of similar type of content, some fun videos related to 19-9, and you'll get to know a little bit more about us there. So please check out our YouTube channel.
Subscribe to it too. Every YouTube channel I hear, subscribe, hit the bell. The ones I really love, I hit the bell on so I get the notification, and I'm like, all right, good. This is coming out.
Definitely.
I'm just excited that Matt knows what's going on.
I know.
Because I could have never laid all that
Now,
out.
that said, you guys are going to talk about the history of Midnight Madness.
He did have it in his head too. I didn't think he could do it.
I'm going to go keep designing
I didn't
shorts and shirts, and then you guys can invite me back into the conversation when we talk about the product later.
Perfect.
Cool. All right.
Thank you, Matt.
What about those cold threes?
No, we can't talk about cold threes yet.
All right, we're talking about Midnight Madness, and I was absolutely excited about this because growing up, this meant the world to me, and it's coming along at the perfect time right now because the NBA just ended. College basketball is on the horizon. I'm a little nervous about the season, but I think they're gonna pull it off. I'm hopeful that they're gonna pull it off just like the NBA did, or some form of it, and it's gonna be awesome. And I couldn't be more excited. So, how did 19-9 get into Midnight Madness? Because it's kind of a I feel like waned a little bit. So you guys could be a big part of bringing it back a little bit. Some of the excitement.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about some of my Midnight Madness memories growing up and watching that stuff on ESPN and then going to it at IU. But as the only exclusive college basketball company in the United States, we figured that we should just have our own Midnight Madness and celebrate it. We have a new product line that's coming out that we'll launch later on tonight at midnight. Actually, 11 our time. We're in the GOAT down here in Central Time. So we'll be launching 10 schools with a new product line. We have some exciting teaser things that are coming out too, some sticker packs and some glow-in-the-dark shirts and all kinds of fun stuff. So we thought that it would be dope to kind of put our own spin on it. We don't know what the status of Midnight Madness is for colleges this year, and it can range anywhere from late September to late October when people do it. But it used to be just a general celebration about the first day of practice, when the clock struck midnight. And so we were like, you know what, it would be dope to have some launches and tie into our new product line, which makes sense, and have some fun down here, and then do the YouTube channel and the podcast and all that stuff and tie it all together.
Well, there's some synergy. As I walked in today, there's Maryland up working on some Maryland stuff. And then that's where it started, right?
We don't have Maryland yet. You're giving away all the inside.
Well,
secrets.
I mean, you guys are working on all kinds of stuff. That's the cool thing is that you guys are all. When I come down here, I give previews. You're not necessarily having them, but I think that people are excited about that. All the things that you're working on, right? Like I see on the Instagram comments people that you're working on.
Worn out, man.
I know
they wear me out.
But people don't realize like that even before you get them, like you guys are preparing in hopes, and you're trying to get it. That's part of the hustle.
It's part of the grind.
Is like getting it. And I think it was just neat to walk in because I quizzed you who is the coach that started all this stuff.
Yeah, Lefty Drizel, Maryland, and it was a 1.5 mile run. So it was like 1971 or something, I think. Something like that. Yeah. What was cool about that was it probably goes unnoticed if they don't invite students.
Right.
So we invite students to the track where they could sit and watch
which is crazy.
Run, which is funny.
Yeah.
Turns into a bit of a party or whatever. And then people start looking forward to it. And then it just kind of catches on. And then, when I was doing research for Midnight Madness, when we were kind of researching logos and things like that to see if we could pull anything from the past, Kentucky kept coming up quite a bit too. So that Big Blue Madness has been around for a long time too. Mm-hmm. Like it was very prevalent in our searches and stuff too, but it was Lefty that started it at Maryland. And it was funny because it's just a 1.5 mile run. Like, what the hell does that even accomplish?
Well, do you remember why they did it though? Like what's the point? People probably, watching this, at least some people probably don't even know why it was called midnight, because it's not even at midnight anymore, right?
It's not anymore, but the NCAA, it was NCAA basically. Like, it was the start date was an X date to start practice. Well, that first date at clock strikes midnight, it's on.
You start.
Yeah, you can start. So, and then it became this big recruiting extravaganza and stuff like that. My earliest memories of it were through the ESPN stuff though too. Yeah. So like when ESPN started covering it, and I remember Cincinnati, and maybe this is a segue into the next segment, but when Cincinnati did it and they were like number one in 95 or 96 or whatever, and the kid hit the half court shot for tuition and shit.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then the place went nuts and Vital was there and all that stuff. And I remember that being like, this is dope. And I stayed up till midnight to watch that, or 11 o'clock here, to watch it because I knew it was some of that early ESPN2 footage when ESPN2 was just searching for shit to like throw.
Yeah, we got
to
get some some content on here.
I always loved the old ESPN2 games and stuff that we watch because it's like skater and X game graphics, like up against college basketball. Because they were going to be the alternative sports network, and it was like, oh shit, guys, we better throw like Duke Carolina up on there, or we're in trouble.
Turns out you still need ratings,
right? Exactly.
Before we talk about that stuff, did you have like this? We actually did like a version of this in high school too. Did you guys? It got so popular that high schools were doing because Midnight Madness or some version of that. Like
I was
before
curious.
Their first practice.
I was curious as to that. I was going to actually ask you that if you did it in high school. We didn't, but we always did like a kickoff practice that was open to the public. So like a version.
That's a version of it.
Not at like midnight or late night or anything. It was just like a normal night where it would be the freshmen, JV, and varsity all practiced together.
Yep.
Everybody's parents came and friends came and stuff like that in the gym. And then there was some inter squad scrimmaging and all that stuff. So yeah, we did like a little variation.
I mean, but that's the version of it, right? The fact that it's that popular enough that people are coming to watch a high school practice.
I remember
just shows how excited people were to kick off a basketball season.
I remember I was so hyped for that one for our high school and it was snowing out. I remember this, and my dad was like, "Don't sit around in the house all day. Like, go for a run or something before this event happened." Right. Yeah. So I put like Rocky soundtrack into my Walkman and ran like 5 miles in the snow. This is no joke. Like 5 miles in the snow. I played like absolute shit at this Midnight Madness-esque event, and my mom lit my ass up about like my effort and stuff. And then later on, we were like casually talking around dinner or whatever it was, and he was like, "Well, how far did you run today?" And I like ran in like snow boots and shit too because it was snowing out.
Put a weighted backpack on.
And I told him his route, and he was like, "Well, that was dumb. Like, why did you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, you told me to go out and run, and I had no legs and play like shit." My mom was not happy. It was That's my Midnight Madness.
I love it. I had a got in trouble moment in mine too. So we were ranked going into junior year. So it was packed, like ridiculous. Everyone was trying to dunk.
And there was nothing else to do in those years.
Nothing to do. Yeah. So everyone's trying to dunk in warm-ups, which is hilarious. You know, you're not actually dunking, but you can grab
Throw
the
that
rim.
ball up high, grab that rim.
People were cheering.
And then go on
incredible.
to the end of the line. Yeah.
So I'm caught up in the moment, like 2 minutes into the game, hit a three, arms in the air, running down, celebrating, got benched. And during the Midnight Madness,
You can't do
coaches
that
had
shit.
none of that. I'm
can't
like,
do
not
it.
even at Midnight Madness. Come on, coach.
Not in Indiana during the Bobby Knight
Definitely not.
regime.
Quick lesson learned.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
That's funny shit, man.
Well, let's talk about a little bit of your, like, just watching it, because that was the coolest part again of Midnight Madness. It was a big deal, and like you said, first on TV. Then later, I got to go to some, even up into some of the more recent IU ones I went to, and I think it really morphed from what it was, just this kind of opening scrimmage, maybe if you guys throw down a dunk, to just like last year, what did Kansas got in trouble for? Like Snoop Dogg was there, and I had a recruiting one. I had to tell this one right off the top. So DePaul, I think this is like 2005 or 6, so still a little while ago, had a contest where one fan would travel to the Big East tournaments in March.
Oh yeah,
and they had 17 recruits at that, so they brought in. I mean, it just turned into this like time to like show off recruits, almost like a WWE.
We got Kentucky and like you mentioned, Kansas that bring in celebrities, and St. John's always bring in rappers from New York and stuff like that. It's just an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
But my early memories, like I was at IU Coach Knight's last season.
Okay.
And he would just run the shit like a practice.
Yeah.
And to me, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a basketball
nerd. Yeah, you're like, this is cool.
And I'm like, this is cool. We get to see Bob Knight kind of orchestrate. Now, he was much looser and not as hands-on, and they would throw in some fun stuff here and there, but it wasn't nearly what it is now. And because it's made for TV now.
Sure.
That's the rub.
Well, or kids too. Like it's
absolutely.
They've changed it up so now it's in the middle of the day or early afternoon.
Everybody wants to have fun, and you want fireworks, and you want contests and T-shirt cannons and shit like that, because you're just trying to entertain, which is cool. That's fine. I mean,
it is great.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But I always appreciated that it was just actually a practice.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I mean, the first ones were so cool. They would cut around to. I remember watching. It might have even been on like CNN when it first started. Like it was that big because it just seemed like such a big deal, almost like the first game of the season where you could hear these talents, and I think it was that quality where players weren't as accessible. There wasn't as much information on Instagram or wherever. Like
it's the first time you get to see Jerry Stackhouse in a North Carolina
none
uniform.
of these guys, like Rasheed Wallace.
Yes,
I didn't even know what they look like, let alone see him play. So
unless you saw him in Slam. And that's where Slam fit into all that stuff.
But even then, it was just a picture, right?
Just a picture. You had no idea if this dude was any good or not.
Yeah, it's the Punks article or it's the Slam All Americans. Like that, and I was like feeding off that
for
stuff.
Sure.
And then to see him live and in action was so exciting.
So I sent you a clip of that Carolina dunk contest that I pulled off of YouTube for Midnight Madness.
I loved it.
And Dickie V's just going crazy, but they make everybody dunk. So there's like little 5'10" white dudes like me out there trying to like throw down like everybody little tries dunk, and then like Dickie V's trying to hype people up, but then really all he cares about is like Stackhouse and Wallace because they're the new ones.
Well, they get one too. Why do they
Everybody
get
gets one dunk? And like some dudes can only do like a 2-hand dunk, and then the walkout.
Dante Calabria leads off.
That dude could shoot it though.
He could,
but the walk-ons come out and he feels like he has to explain like why they don't have numbers on the back of it. That was dirty as hell.
This guy's not even on the team yet.
Yeah, they're
like,
wow. I mean, and he was killing these dudes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like slap a number on that dude's jersey, man. But that's what that was like old Midnight Madness.
He loved Eric Montross's haircut though.
Oh yeah. that was prime Dickie V too, which was interesting. But that was that was Midnight Madness, where that was where it was in that transition from being like a real practice to more of an entertainment when ESPN got involved.
They were figuring it out.
They started to figure it out.
You could see the wheels
turning. That place was packed, and what else was crazy, and I think we've talked about on this before, is like nobody was holding up a phone doing anything. No. Everybody was just in there like truly cheering for every
little thing.
And all those people were in there packed to see Stackhouse and Wallace for the first time.
Well, Montrose, I'm sure.
I mean, they were the returning national champs.
Yeah, exactly.
But you want to see the new guys. You know what those old guys can do. You want to see the new dudes with all the hype. It's true. And I remember that when we were at IU going and watching Moye and Newton and all those guys.
Yeah. So what'd you think? Did you go to any of the?
Yeah, I went to all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, every year had to.
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of question is that? Of course.
I love because it's just like there are, unlike other places, there are things to do at IU. You know, when there's a Midnight Madness event going off, like, you're just going out afterwards. What you're saying?
No.
We've heard some of the things on the podcast.
No.
We heard about the IU 2002 run.
Yeah, but that wasn't televised. So like I wasn't televised, so you had to you had to be in a building. I went to every one of them. Most of them I don't really remember. I remember nights because it was just like a practice, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
and I remember Mike Davis's first one a little bit because they introduced like a dunk contest, a 3-point contest. I think for the first time.
Yeah. Didn't George Leach win it or something crazy?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah,
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then I mean. I don't know the last one I've watched on TV though.
I know.
It's been a while, and maybe I'm just older.
Well, I think that we can get into some of that. I think that's what's fun about you guys. When you said something about Midnight Madness, it triggered like the old memories of it. And like it's not that you can't find good moments, but I think that you have to be tied to a team, or you got to be watching for one specific team because it's just it's such a spectacle now that it's not. You can't. You're not going to see as much basketball. Like you're really just watching to get a glimpse of these guys.
The scrimmages are NBA All-Star games where nobody plays defense 100%. And everybody's just trying to dunk and stuff.
Yep.
Where you're like the basketball purists are trying to get a real look at this kid.
Right.
This new heralded.
Yeah.
You're watching, you don't get that.
You're not even watching Summer League level.
Right. Yeah. But if you went to Bobby Knight's when Damon Bailey was there, you got to actually see Damon Bailey compete against Calbert Chaney and Greg Graham and those dudes and play. And it was like that across the country too.
Yeah.
So, man, I miss those days.
Well, did you go to any of them when they were they got it back in the rankings with Oladipo, Zeller, and those guys?
No, the ship has sailed for me on Midnight Madness.
Okay, so I went to a couple of those too, and I think that is so they had the recruits there. It was still kind of interesting just because they do like a 3-point contest, and I think Zeller won the 3-point contest one year. I'm like, wow, Zeller can shoot threes, and there are little things that you could still even as a nerd, but the entertainment of them was worth it, especially for something free, and I think that that Midnight Madness, one of my favorite things about it still, and even thinking about it now, is that it gets you so hyped for the season. Like this is the moment that your team, if they're anywhere near the top 10 or even the top 25, you can think like, hey, we might have a shot this year.
Yeah,
like that quickly erases, but that it's so much fun as a fan to think about having a shot at a national championship or a Final Four or whatever, just to have a great season. And the buildup of it is so much fun. It's like, the new iPhone coming out. Everyone gets so hyped up over ridiculous things. Like this is such a fun thing to get excited about. Why not? Like it's going to be new. It's going to be different. Get to see the guys for the first time. I don't know. I think
and there's nothing to be pissed off about.
Nothing.
Like then nobody can lose.
Exactly.
So it's just like a feel good thing.
In a year like this, like a perfect time to like just enjoy it for, an hour.
I did try to find online. I did a shitty job because I didn't find anything, but I didn't know if schools across the country were having it or not having the Midnight Madness stuff. So everything I looked up was from 2019, basically.
I guarantee that if they've got TV contracts, they're going to do it. Because they're doing they're practicing, so they're gonna have something on TV.
Yeah,
ESPN's got content to.
Well, I will watch it this year. I will watch it for sure.
Yeah.
And some, I don't know, some of them probably already started.
We got the YouTube. We'll put it in the links and in the podcast.
Because that's the other thing. Like now the dates vary so much.
Yeah.
So like people do it all across, literally for a month.
I know.
It used to be just that one drop dead.
Yeah.
standard date.
Do you think that what do you think changed it more, like the format change of it, or was it just that it's not at midnight? Because even like for high school and for college, the difference changed in that like there was an actual dead period in the summer where like it's over. Like you guys shut it down. You can't really talk to the players. You can't practice in any organized way. And now it's like not really like that. They're there all summer. It's not, it's way, even in high school, they can go to camps during the summer together.
Nothing's as good as it was in the 90s.
Well, but what do you think it changed it more? Is it the format change where they're trying to make it more of an entertainment, or is it?
That's probably helped them. Yeah. I would think.
Okay.
I think the entertainment stuff has probably helped them with the age demographic that they're going after, like we talked about earlier. I mean, I don't know why I don't watch anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. But then when we came up with this idea to do our own Midnight Madness tonight,
now you're back in.
Then I was like, you know what? That's a great idea.
Okay, I've got some more moments for you, so you can decide whether you like these or not. But these are some of the ones that I picked out that I remember. So I had Hanner Mosquera Perea dunking 2 balls at the same time.
Pretty impressed. Remember that.
Here's why, because I thought that guy was legit going to be good, and this is the danger of watching anything at Midnight Madness and thinking that guy's going to be good. He was never good.
Yeah,
he was so athletic,
just raw,
just so athletic,
completely raw.
Couldn't put it together.
Sometimes it happens, man.
I mentioned the DePaul recruits. I had Florida had William Hung. Do you remember him? American Idol.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So I think this is one of those things where it started to change a little bit. So he's at the Florida Midnight Madness throwing David Lee an alley-oop dunk.
David Lee.
And then singing there, just like, wow. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
All right, this one was an old one that I remember, but I found I was looking for like clips and stuff about it. 1995 Kentucky. This guy, this is again my iPhone description. This guy, Wally Clark of Lexington, was first in line for tickets to the Kentucky one. He stood 17 days in line.
That shouldn't surprise you.
17 days.
Kentucky fans are nuts.
1995. So that's that number 1 team in the nation. They had Walter McCarty,
where they talked about the second team being the second best team in the country.
Yeah, Tony Dell came in as Catman that year.
Interesting.
Yeah, from the roofs. They had him on cables coming down from the roof.
Oh my! You could never do that now. What if them things snap?
I know.
Holy shit!
Tony Dell, goodbye.
Good Lord, what was he thinking?
Won the title that year. Arkansas did following the '94 national championship was on CNN for the cut. So that was the thing. And then,
I think I saw something about that.
And then Tom Izzo, by the way, Michigan
He loves
State,
it, doesn't he? He goes nuts.
Goes nuts. I found it. That was probably the most content I found.
He did like the hippie. He did. What else? He's come in on all kinds of stuff.
Iron Man.
There was something on a horse or something too, right?
I don't know what it was. It was last year, a couple of years ago. He got shot out of a cannon. I was like, Izzo, what are you doing?
He loves it.
What are you doing, man?
That's awesome. So mark me down for watching Michigan State if they are on
exactly.
TV.
He's guaranteed to do something crazy because he's just into it, and it doesn't surprise me. Like he is that coach. Talking to Jason Andreas, who's done some of the podcasts with us and did his Tales from the Bench from the year they won the championship. Literally said like after like on the ride home, Izzo was talking about like strategy already for the next season. That guy is just hooked into basketball in a really deep way.
That's awesome.
What else you got? You got anything else for our Midnight Madness memories?
No, man. Keep it locked here. YouTube. Keep it locked here. Podcast.
I'm excited about the YouTube. I've been talking to you guys
locked
about that for a while.
On
it's gonna be awesome.
Instagram for giveaways and stuff that have been going on all day today.
Ooh.
And
we
got some treats, man. We have some treats.
Love it.
Can't wait.
All right, man.
See you, brother.
Thank you for listening to the 19.9 podcast with HVS, the High Volume Shooters. For more information, check out the blog at 19.9.com under HVS. And while you're there, do yourself a favor and pick up some retro college shorts. Till next time.